This week I'll show you how to get a completely black background.
Adorama TV presents Exploring Photography with Mark Wallace, where you will learn innovative techniques on shooting a wide range of photography. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Exploring Photography. I'm Mark Wallace, and helping us out today is our model. This is Alexis. Now what we're going to be doing is talking to you about how to get a completely black background. And this conversation actually came up when I posted some pictures on my Facebook page, and people said, how did you do that? So we're going to explain it today. Now the key to getting a dark background or a completely black background is the position of our light in relationship to our subject, the distance of those two things. And that's because of something we learned about in episode 59 of Digital Photography 101, and that thing is called the inverse square law. So we can't get into all the details of the inverse square law, but you can go back and look at that episode. I want to sort of summarize it for you here. So Alexis, if you can get on your mark right there. What happens with the inverse square law, it really depends on the distance of your light from your subject. And what happens is light falls off really rapidly. And so when our light is really close to our subject, what happens is that light is very powerful, but right here, whoa, it just sort of falls off. And so the amount of light that's on our background compared to what's on our subject is very, very low. And so what we can do, which is totally counterintuitive, a lot of people when they're trying to get a dark background, they'll take this light and they'll move it way back here like this. And what happens is the light falls off right here. So whew, the light falls off, and now the light is about the same here on our subject as it is in the background. So that makes our background show up sort of as a dark gray. We don't want that. We want this to fall completely out. So the key is the light being very, very close to our subject. So get it really, really close as you possibly can, and that will give us rapid light fall off and give us a dark background. The other thing is you want your subject to be at a distance from the background. You don't want your subject really close. You want to have some distance. So this is about 6 feet right here. Now to really help you understand this, Alexis and I are going to show you this crazy demo, and so we're going to do that next. All right, well now I'm going to show you an extreme example of the inverse square law. Notice we have this big wide open studio here with all the lights on. You can see the back. We have that ugly, nasty garage door back here. But what I've done here is Alexis is really, really close to this Octabox right here. It's about, I don't know, an inch or so from her shoulder, maybe 2 inches. And so what's going to happen is the light's going to fall off extremely rapidly. And also notice that this is side light. And so even the light, if it wasn't falling off, it still wouldn't get to that background. Now to make sure that we get light on both sides of her face, I have this silver reflector right here. And so we're going to have a nice fall off left to right with some fill light from a reflector, so it'll look pretty good. Let me show you how this works. I've already metered this at f20, which means that's going to knock out all the ambient light, and we're only going to see light from our flash. So let me take a picture, and just to make sure there's no gimmicks, Alexis, I want to have you hold up a 1 right next to your face. So there we go. We have our 1 held up there. Good. Now I have that, and you can see that it is absolutely a dark background with nothing showing up. And that's the beauty of the inverse square law. You can just drop the light off, and so you can make that background really dark. Well, if you don't have that much space, what do you do? Well, what I do is I use a black seamless background, and that way any light that happens to get back there is just absorbed with that dark background. So let's put those principles into practice. Okay, well now let's put this into practice with our black background. We have our light very, very close to Alexis. This is about 1.5 feet, something like that. And we've already metered this at f13, and I'm going to take a picture really quickly. So Alexis, look right at me. Perfect. And we can look at our camera, and we can see we have a totally black background. Now look what happens when I back this light up. So I'm going to come out quite a ways, and then can you meter that for me really quickly? So that meters at 7.1, so I'll do that. And we'll take another shot, just like that. And when I look at this, you can see that our background is a little bit lighter than it was in the first shot. And then the last thing we're going to do, Alexis, I'm going to have you come all the way back here right in front of this paper. And then I'll have you meter that in a second. I'm going to increase the power just a little bit on my flash. Okay, if you can meter that for me really quickly. 9. And that meters at 9. So I will change my aperture value. And now we're going to take another shot. And when we look at this, you can clearly see a shadow on the background, and that black background becomes this really, really light grayish. So actually a darkish gray, lighter than black is what that is. Some shade of black that's not black is what that is. And so we don't want that. Well, now that we have this, let's put it into practice by shooting an actual portrait with a totally black background. Well, now that you've seen the principles in action, I'm going to take one more picture, this time with a little bit more realistic lighting setup. We had an issue with Alexis. She was just falling into that black background, and so I added a separation light right up here, and then I also added a reflector to add just a little bit more light to the other side of her face. So let me take a couple pictures and we'll see how that looks, and then we'll wrap everything up. Well, before we leave you, I need to tell you a couple more things that will make you successful at getting a dark black background. The first is make sure you shoot in RAW, and that will allow you to put your photos into Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom, and then you can use the blacks slider in the Develop module or in the Adobe Camera Raw module to make sure that the blacks are absolutely black. So I usually take these in and just adjust that to maybe -25 or -50 to make sure those are rock solid. Also, don't forget to check out the inverse square law video. That is episode 59 of Digital Photography 101. And of course, you can find that at the Adorama Learning Center, along with all kinds of articles and videos and tips and tricks all about photography and video gear and product reviews and all of that stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to Adorama TV so you don't miss a single episode, because they're awesome. And also, thank you, Alexis, for all the help today, and we'll see you again next time. Watch me kick your face.
Kick my face.
Did you see that?
You can kick surprisingly high for a dude.
For a dude, I'm flexible. It's all that bike riding. Pow!
You're gonna hurt so bad tomorrow. You better stop doing it.
I do this all the time.
I'll tear my pants if I try to kick you back.
No, that's an excuse. You can't kick me back.
My pants are several sizes more snug than yours.
Well, you should wear looser pants, and you could kick people in the face like this. Cacao! And then you smack like this. Anyway, yeah.
Want to get the most out of your Adorama photography equipment? Visit our Learning Center, where you can read popular articles, how-to tips, buying guides, and product reviews.